We are waiting right now on the President Obama to unveil that next budget, then later the massive proposal delivered to the Senate Budget Committee later today. It's expected to boost the deficit, which has been at an unprecedented level 2 years running now, to a record $1.56 trillion this year. On that committee, Senator Judd Gregg out of New Hampshire here to react to the White House response from earlier today. And Senator, good morning to you. Here's what the White House is saying. They're saying we propose 120 terminations, reductions, or savings in this budget, which will result in about $20 billion in savings this year. Now, do you think that's a good start, or are we just barely tapping on the outside window here?
Tapping on the outside window is probably a good way to describe it. I mean, you're talking about a $1.6 trillion deficit. What's $10 billion on that? I mean, $10 billion is a lot of money, but compared to the size of the deficit, it's not significant. No. We've got some pretty big problems here. We need some pretty big solutions. You know, I think it was Einstein who said that insanity is doing the wrong thing over and over and expecting change. Well, this is fiscal insanity, to continue to grow the government the way we're growing it, to continue to spend the way we're spending, continue to raise the debt the way we're raising it. We're going to pass on to our kids a country that basically is insolvent. And so it's time to step up with some bigger ideas, bigger solutions, and not play small ball here.
Well, I'll give you the platform then. I mean, what are the bigger ideas? And ultimately, is there the political will in Congress today, or anywhere in that city where you work? I know you're back in your home state today. Where is the political will in Washington to make sure that our kids aren't paying for it 50 years from now?
Well, on the political will question, I think the American people are ready. I mean, I think that's what the Massachusetts election was about, that they don't want to see us passing on a country which is less prosperous to our kids than they receive. They don't think that's right, and they know that it's inappropriate to continue to run these deficits. What are some specific ideas? Let me give you 4 that I think would be huge. First, let's end the TARP program. That's about $300 to $400 billion. We don't need it any longer. It should be ended. They're using it as a piggy bank downtown, and it's totally inappropriate. Let's take the stimulus money, which hasn't worked all that well to begin with, but let's take the money that's going to be spent after 2011 and rescind it. That's about 30% of the stimulus package, which was over $800 billion. Let's take an idea that 60% of that all 60 Democrats in the Senate already voted for, and that was that in the health care bill, they suggested reducing Medicare spending by about $500 billion. But what they wanted to do with it was create more spending on the other side of the ledger. They wanted to create a new entitlement program and a brand new, expand dramatically other entitlement programs that had nothing to do with Medicare. I suggest that we take those savings and put them into a Medicare insurance fund that is real and actually makes the Medicare system more solvent. And then let's do a hard freeze. None of this freeze starting in 2011, which is what is in the president's budget. Let's start the freeze today and get serious about that. You take those 4 items alone, you'll make a fairly big adjustment in this long-term deficit issue, and you'll get us at least righted, maybe not absolutely straight up, but we'll at least start to right the ship a little bit.
It seems like right now, as you lay that out, we're 0 for 4. Is there any movement on any of the 4 items you just threw out there?
Well, we're 0 for 4 because the Congress, as you said, doesn't have the political will to do it, and because basically right now we have a Congress which genuinely believes, as the president does, because he said this numerous times, that you create prosperity by growing the government. Well, you don't create prosperity when you grow the government at a rate you can't afford. The government cannot be allowed to grow faster than the economy can afford it. And right now we're allowing it to grow. It is growing radically faster than the economy can grow it. And actually you create jobs not by growing the government, but you create jobs by giving the individuals in our country the ability to go out, take risks, invest, and create jobs. And so we got to, I believe we have to change the mindset. But I think the American people are ready for that. I think they're ready for a government which is much more disciplined on the spending side of the ledger, and it's time we do it.
Okay. Elections can determine that in the end. Judd Gregg, thank you for your time this morning. Good to get your thoughts after hearing from Peter Orszag a bit earlier today. Judd Gregg, thank you.